Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's live with Geo time. It's a bit of a lazy video, truth be told. I stayed down south last night because we were out yesterday. Obviously the Everton game, but it was Tom Stag do as well. So we stayed over down south. So I got back early enough today. But I've chilled out, watched the football, both games, one really good one not so good one. And I thought, right, let's have a chit chat. So here I am. And if you're watching live, thank you very much for joining me. Get involved in the live chat. But first up, the big topic of the day is that Craig Dawson has finally joined Wolverhampton Wanderers on a permanent transfer, 3.3 million. In all honesty, I'm pleased to see him go. Now, it's not because when I say that, I don't necessarily mean I'm pleased to see us sell Dawson, get him out the door, get him gone kind of thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean is I'm pleased to see this come to an end because it's gone on too long. It went on in the summer. We got to deadline day. We were expecting him to leave. It didn't happen because we failed to get a replacement in no time. And then we've come into the January transfer window. And it's still lingering, and so much so that last weekend against Wolves, we couldn't play him because we hadn't came to a resolution with it. I'm just glad now that it's done and dusted. It's the 22nd of January, so there's still 9 days. So there's plenty of time to go get a replacement. I do feel we need one. David Moyes has sort of dismissed the idea of getting a centre-back. I hope he's bluffing. I think he's bluffing. But he's one of the biggest transfers I've got wrong, to be honest with you. I remember when we signed him, I was really disappointed. I thought it was just the cheap option. And you know something? It was, okay? But how it turned out has been fantastic. And I never imagined him playing this well. That performance in France, up there with some of the best performances I've seen from one West Ham player in 90 minutes. Like I've said, this will be the last time I say it. I keep going on about Winston Reid at the Etihad. Craig Dawson, away to Lyon, is right up there with that one for me. Them two centre-back performances, incredible. But when the club got him, even the club didn't think he'd be this good because we could have bought him for 2 million and the club chose not to. Instead, it was like, no, we'll have him on loan and have the option to buy him for a couple of million if it works out. So even when we got Craig Dawson, even the club, even the management didn't think he'd come to anything. Otherwise, we'd have paid 2 million for him. We chose not to do that because it was almost like we want to have a little look first for 2 million. So it wasn't just the fan base that has reservations. A lot of people get dug out. I see it. People say, oh, I remember when everybody wrote Dawson off, blah, blah. They never necessarily wrote them off. It's just that they didn't necessarily think highly of the transfer. And at the time, I would argue it's still correct. You know, a centre-back that's had relegations with 2 different clubs. We got him on loan for 2 million fee, and it turned out better than expected. And I think it turned out better than the club expected. The football experts, better than they expected, like I said, because if they thought that's what they were getting, they would have bought him for 2 million, but they chose not to. And he didn't get into the team straight away. He had to wait until there was injuries and or suspensions. Then he got in and put in some really, really brave performances. You know, I thought he was absolutely brilliant for us. At times a little bit shaky, at times you get reminded that he's not the perfect centre-back, but in terms of a servant to the club and stuff, he's leaving in a lot of people's eyes. He's leaving as a cult hero, and I understand why. You know, he's exceeded all expectations, and then some, got into the Europa League team of the season as well, which is, you know, a brilliant achievement. Okay, yes, you don't get an award, etc., etc., but as a player, as a personal achievement, that's got to be something for a centre-back, because you can, you know, strikers can go on and win the top scorer for certain tournaments, etc. But as a centre-back, there's only so much awards you can actually win. So to get into the Europa League team of the season, I think that's an accomplishment and something that hopefully he takes great pride in. I think he should take great pride in as well. But yeah, brilliant servant. But I'm pleased it's come to an end now, just so that it doesn't rumble on anymore, kind of thing. Will be a difficult player to replace in terms of how he performs with his heart on his sleeve. You know, he played with a broken nose for months and stuff like that. So his commitment will be very, very difficult to replace. In terms of ability, I'll be honest with you, I think there's adequate replacements. It's just a case of, do we know who they are? Can we go get them, kind of thing. I lost to the club, not to the first 11. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I think there'll be some people that get what I mean. Some people will get offended by that, but I think that makes sense to me. I lost to the club, but not the first 11. If he was here on Saturday, I mean, he was technically our player yesterday, weren't he? If he was available, would he have got in ahead of those 3? I think he possibly would have got in ahead of Ogbonna, but then after he's, with the benefit of hindsight, you think, well, actually, Ogbonna played really well in that game, but he wouldn't have got in ahead of Aguerd and Zuma. So I think it's the right thing. I think the club have done the right thing, allowing him to go for Craig Dawson. You know, good luck to him, and I hope he does well at Wolves. But I do think we need a replacement for Craig Dawson, especially if we're going to play three at the back now. Interestingly, went with three traditional centre backs as well. I thought that was quite interesting yesterday. Usually he doesn't mind an Aaron Craswell in there or a Ben Johnson in there, somebody that is willing to come out of the defence with the ball. But I think that player is actually there. It's just Aguerd is just a traditional centre back that is comfortable dribbling with it, is comfortable playing with it. Whereas before, you've had to see a fullback slip in there for understandable reasons. Because, you know, with like some Dawson, Zuma at times, the distribution is average at best. At best, it's average. I mean, saying that, Craig Dawson in the last few months was the one banging all those long balls out from the back, weren't he? He was pinging those 40-yarders to Ben Rama on a regular basis. He was one of our best passers at one point. But generally, you get why there was a need to put somebody else in there with them. But now with Aguerd in there with Aguerd, but like I said, I do think we need to replace Craig Dawson, who I don't know. Hopefully not Michael Keane. I don't want Michael Keane, but hopefully there's something going on in the backgrounds. Despite it's quite quiet actually. Like I said, we're not getting linked to too many centre backs at the minute. Actually, yeah, that's a very good shout, Rob. Actually, we have been linked to Harry Suter. We'd love him. The only reason I don't see this happening, it's not because we wouldn't appeal to him. Of course we would. You know, we're a step up. Even if we were to get relegated, we'd still be a step up from Stoke City. Does he appeal to us? Of course he does. Young, brilliant centre-back. His distribution is fantastic as well. The only thing that makes me not believe the rumours is money. It's the price tag. They want over 20 million for him, and I just can't see that happening. The good thing is, Craig Dawson going to Wolves, is that's one of our competitors out the way. Wolves were heavily linked with Suter as well, so that should get them out the running because they don't need him anymore. They've got Big Dawson. Jen saying we should play Ashby. He's leaving in summer just like Rice, and he still plays Rice. Hello to everybody. Hello, Doug. Hello, Gary. I'm going to be reading the live chat. Keep your comments coming in. See what you guys are saying. So we've got the centre-back topic at the minute, so get your thoughts in ahead of around the centre-back situation. Mark says Maguire would be a good buy. I agree. Ten Hag has said no. He's not going anywhere, but we'll see. West Ham coming around says, good win yesterday, not a great game. Play like that in our next game, we will lose. I'm going to save that till the end. I'm going to continue my positivity for now, if you don't mind. What I will say is, I've got a little bit of a confession. I think everybody's going to be saying the same thing, though. It's impossible not to love Aguerd already, isn't it? It is. Yesterday, I enjoyed watching him. It's not often I enjoy watching a centre-back defend. It's a bit of a weird one. There's some players, they do the business, and I'm fine with it. It's just, yeah, whatever. But with Aguerd, he almost does it with this elegancy that is thoroughly impressive. Just watching him play football, I enjoy watching Aguerd defend. His passing from the back yesterday was incredible. That, I don't know, but 65-yard pass. It was practically a through ball to David Bowen. You know, he took it well on his chest. It didn't quite land for him. On another day, Bowen takes that down and gets a shot off the back of it. And it's just gone from our deepest player to our furthest forward player. His distribution yesterday was brilliant. Possibly should have done a bit better with his header from the corner. That tackle, that last-ditch tackle on Demarai Gray, just brilliant. He does one of them every single game. He will get one wrong eventually. Eventually, we will concede a penalty to Aguerd doing one of those tackles. He'll just time it slightly wrong, and it'll happen. But for now, faultless against Leeds United. We saw it. Rodrigo, I think it was, that was running in. Aguerd was behind him, got back, put the tackle in. Yesterday again, behind the opposition's got a bit of an advantage. Aguerd makes up the ground and comes in from the side and makes an unbelievable tackle inside the 18-yarder. He's just some player. And I have to say, there is a little bit of me clinging for positivity at the minute. I think it's natural. You have to. You're trying to be realistic, but there's also an element of you which is like, right, come on then, where's the positivity? Give me something. Give me some encouragement that we can get out of this. The signing of Danny Ings is a sign of encouragement for me. Yesterday, you're sat there, you're watching it, you're thinking, like, come on then, where's the encouragement? And it's impossible not to put Aguerd down as one of the biggest reasons. If we stay up, you feel that Aguerd would be one of the biggest players to have that difference. If I was to ask you right now, actually, we'll do that. We'll do that, right? We like our community questions, right? So live with Geo community question. If West Ham stay up, hypothetically, if West Ham stay up, which 3 players are going to have the biggest impact between now and then the season? Forget what they've already done. The games that are being played don't count. From now to the end of the season, which 3 players will have the biggest impact? I'll write mine down. Yeah, okay, I've wrote mine down. We'll see what you all say as well. So, Hammer, Oil, Ollie. I always say Oil. I don't know why. My head just says it. It's not the first time. I apologise. Hammer, Ollie says Bowen, Paqueta, and Aguerd. And Danny says Gomez on loan. That's a good shout. They've got a lot of centre-backs at the minute at Liverpool. That's with Van Dijk injured. I saw them play the other night against Wolves. I think they had about 4 different centre-backs on the pitch at some point. Bra says Downs, Ings, and Aguerd. Mark says Aguerd, Bowen, and Ings. Callum says Rice, Aguerd, and Bowen. Doug, Bowen, Fabianski, interesting, and Sufal. Some obscure shouts. I like it. Gary's Aguerd, Rice, Ings. Sean's got Ben Rama, Aguerd, and Ings. Gavino has got Aguerd, Ings, Bowen. Rice, Aguerd, Bowen, says Joshua. Tony's got Ings, Bowen, Aguerd. Rob says Aguerd, Ings, Paqueta. While James has gone Aguerd, Bowen, Ben Rama. Steve, Ings, Aguerd, Rice. Rice, Aguerd, Skamaka. Oh, first time we've seen a Skamaka shot. I think the injury is going to stop people saying him, though. I can understand that. Aguerd, Rice, and Bowen. Ings, Paqueta, Aguerd. Rice, Aguerd, Skamaka. Another one for Skamaka. Rice, Aguerd, Ings. Yeah, there's a lot of shouts for the 4 common ones. Aguerd, Bowen, Rice, and Ings, I think, are the main 4. Some Paquetas in there and some Skamakas in there. A couple of Ben Ramas. Dylan has got Antonio, Aguerd, and Ben Rama. That's interesting. James says Ings will score 10 plus. Heard it here first. I don't know about 10. I'm assuming you mean all competitions, because he's not getting 10 in the Premier League. That's a 1-2 record, and we don't provide enough for that to happen. Assuming you're meaning the Conference League as well, I can see that. I wouldn't say no. I said 6. I said 6 Premier League goals, so 4 in the Conference League's feasible. So I don't disagree with you, Matt. Brian says Ben Rama, Rice, Aguerd. Colin Irons has done Aguerd, Ings, and Bowen. Rice, Bowen, Aguerd. Yes, everybody's pretty much the same. Fabianski from Jim. Skamaka from Lewis. I like that. I like there's people still got a bit of faith in Matt's putting an extra one. Christopher's done Fabianski, Skamaka, and Ben Rama. Sufal again. Cornet, if he was available, said Greg, that's an interesting one. I mean, if he could get fit. I'll tell you what, though. I seen that video of Cornet the other day running around in the... I assume it was in a gym. I don't know, something. It looked like he was on an indoor basketball court or something, but Cornet was just running. I was like, hang on a minute. He's looking all right here. There's something more than meets the eye with this Cornet thing. I know I'm not the first person to say this, by the way. I'm not breaking any... I'm not... Wow, what a shout that is, Gio. Loads of people have said it. But there's definitely more to meet the eye with this Cornet stuff. The more it goes on, the more suspicious it just gets. And especially when you hear David Moyes speak about him, it's like, oh, where's Cornet? I don't know where he is. Okay, then we get told he's gone to France to see a specialist. So Moyes get asked about that, and he says, "Oh yeah, I need to ask for an update on that." Actually, it's just weird. It's very strange, and if anything, it's just incompetent. If your manager doesn't know the fitness or the injury status of one of your players, especially one that you just spent 17.5 million on, it's a bit worrying. So he definitely knows. Moyes definitely knows what's up with Cornet. Either that or that. Like I said, there's just something funny going on in the background with that one. Do you know that? You know the saying. You know the saying, don't you? If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So if something looks suspicious and something sounds suspicious, it's probably suspicious, right? Anyway, that's all I'm saying. I think the Cornet one's a little bit strange. I'd comment. I kept this one from Alison. Thank you, Alison. You reminded me. Against Everton yesterday, one of the worst teams this season, we only had 32% possession. And Michael saying, just like Moyes claimed not to know whether Ings was registered in time. I don't know why he does it. I honestly, do you know, I saw that Ings thing, right? I genuinely think Moyes is trying to blag Everton a little bit. He's like, oh, I'll play a game of bluff. He's done it before with players being injured. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he's missed training, but the club's already put up footage of training with them in it. And I think Moyes was just trying to keep it quiet, if you like, but yet the club are putting out going, oh yeah, he's signed, he's able to play, kind of thing. It's just a strange one. Mark, my three, I wrote them down: Aguerd, Bowen, and Declan Rice. That's the three I wrote down. I think Ings will have a big impact. The problem is when Scamacca's fit, and also I think Moyes will have this determination, maybe is the word, to continue to play Michail Antonio. Antonio will start against Newcastle. I'm quite confident Antonio will start against Newcastle because I thought he was okay yesterday. I think he had a decent game. I don't think he was anything wow. He wasn't a man of match contender, but he had a big impression on the game. At times, frustrating. That header he missed was unbelievable. Antonio 3 seasons ago was putting that in the back of the net. So it wasn't perfect from him, but it was a big improvement from the last couple of games. We also played Derby on Monday night, next Monday, and Danny Ings is cup tie, so we can't see Ings in that game. So Antonio will probably be the striker for that match. There's a good chance that he might get on the score sheet and therefore keep his place for Newcastle. So I'll tell you now, I think Antonio will start against Newcastle. So the reason I'm not putting Ings on my list is because I think there might be this strange bedding in period, if you like, but Bowen, Rice and Aguerd at the minute are 3 of the first names on the team sheet. So that's my 3 to make a difference. If you're watching this on playback, if you're not joining me live, please get involved in the comments below and let me know your 3 that you think will make a big difference between now and then the season if West Ham were to stay up. Now, going back to the possession from Alisson, we only had 32%. I have to be honest with you, I'm not that bothered. Yesterday was all about the 3 points for me. It's one of them. If we won 1-0 and we won by an own goal, my opinion regarding the team or regarding certain players or regarding the manager wouldn't have changed. It's the same today as it was yesterday before the game. I'm happy that we won. I'm really happy that we won. I enjoyed it yesterday, not because of the football on display, not because we steamrolled Everton, but because we won the game and because Jarrod Bowen got a couple of goals as well, which I'm hoping just gives him a lease of life going into the next few league games. Like I said, I've said it enough now. We can get Bowen scoring. He will make a huge difference to the rest of our season. We've got a goal scorer in Jarrod Bowen. It's not worked this season, but since after the World Cup, I think he was poor against Wolves, well, average against Wolves. But the other games, I think he's played well. Leeds, Brentford in the league, Arsenal, I think he had good games in them. He's looking good. He's got his goals now. Let's see what he does. But in regards to the possession, I've seen it quoted. I had a little look briefly. I've not watched the whole game back yet. I'm going to try and do that in the morning before we do our player ratings. But I've watched highlights back since. And then I went and had a look at some of the stats. In our possession, when it was 0-0, just before Jarrod Bowen scored, so the 35th minute, we had 45% possession. So, yes, okay, Everton still had more possession than us and we're at home. But it was much more even. The second half, only, we had 25% possession. So that's why our possession is obviously such low, as Alisson said there, 34%, 32% overall for the match. But we were always going to do that in the second half. We were 2-0 up. We all knew what West Ham were going to come out and do in the second half. It's just defend. Everton weren't good enough. I'll be surprised if anybody got nervous yesterday at halftime. We come out in the second half. I'll be surprised if there was anyone thinking, we're going to lose this 3-2. Because to do that, you've got to have confidence in that Everton team, which we just saw for 45 minutes, somehow scoring 3 goals. It just wasn't going to happen. So the way we played the second half, we were always going to play because of the circumstances. We were 2-0 up. Had it still been 0-0, I'd imagine the possession stats would have been much more even in the second half. But that's why I take it with a pinch of salt to some extent. I've just watched, Man United and Arsenal. I don't know what those possession were, but certainly for elements of the game, like Man United was sitting back so deep, etc. And they're a good team at the minute, so I don't take the possession stats too badly. In the second half, we came closest to scoring, despite 25% possession. Emerson had the shot tipped on the bar, and that Aguerd should have done better with his header as well. Rice went close. We went close 3 times in the second half. So I take it with a pinch of salt. However, what I will say, where are we? Will says thoughts on Moyes now. My opinion hasn't changed, right? My opinion has not changed on David Moyes. Yesterday's performance, it wasn't great, was it? It was good enough to get the job done. We won yesterday because of Everton. In my opinion, we won because Everton are that poor. Had we played like that against a better team, I think we would have really struggled and possibly have lost the game, probably lost the game, depending who we were playing. Should we have been playing Brighton, for example? I think we would have got beat playing like that. But the boys' confidence it's low at the minute. The manager's confidence is low at the minute. So you have to take that into consideration. I think you've got to put context around these matches. And it was all about the 3 points. But my opinion on Moyes has not changed. I'm not going to sit here now and say, I think David Moyes should keep his job. I would still like to see him leave. I would still like to see David Moyes leave his job today or tomorrow, whenever it is, before the Derby game. I would like to see David Moyes leave. He won't. I know he won't. I'm not hoping. Well, I say hoping. I am hoping he will. I'm expecting nothing. I thoroughly expect David Moyes to be in the dugout at St James's Park now, regardless of how we get on in the FA Cup against Derby. Moyes has now got at least another 2, possibly 3 games. Then after that, who have we got? Nottingham Forest. Oh, there you go. Another winnable fixture for him to possibly do a repeat of yesterday, and it resets the counter. And I feel that this is where we are now. This is why yesterday, it was dangerous to give him yesterday's game, in my opinion, in case this happened. And then we struggle with the next 3. My only hope is, Newcastle's a very tough game. But after that, we've got Chelsea and Tottenham. And then, they don't look great at the minute, do they? Either of them, Chelsea or Tottenham. Neither of them look particularly great. They're there for the taking. It seems unlikely, but I remember when Moyes came back in from Pellegrini, we beat Chelsea 3-2, and that was sort of catapulted us on the way to surviving. I'm just hoping we can do the same again this season. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's where I am with the manager. I'm sort of well done yesterday, Moyes, but it doesn't change my opinion of the larger picture. Unfortunately, what I will say yesterday, I thought the centre backs were brilliant. I think Ogbonna was really, really good. Possibly the best performance I've seen from Ogbonna since his injury. I think he's had something like 15 clearances or something. Mental number. Aguerd had 10, so it's not like he was slacking. But I thought Aguerd was our man of the match by a country mile. Thought Ogbonna played really well. Emerson's best game in the West Ham shirt. Again, I don't think the barometer is that high. Same with Ogbonna. This season, I've been quite okay with Ogbonna, and that's it at best. And I've been the same with Emerson. Because that Conference League, I've been taking it with a pinch of salt. He's not up against tough opponents. It's not Premier League standard. I can't judge him properly. Yesterday, you could argue whether he was up against Premier League standard yesterday, but Emerson was up against Everton yesterday. His best game in a West Ham shirt for me. That's his best position. We know that. That's why we bought him, to play a wing back. The first goal, Jared Bowen's first goal, came from Emerson's cross. Yes, Zuma had to flick it on, and had he not, it might have got cleared. It doesn't matter. Emerson's the one putting that cross in. When was the last time we saw a delivery like that from someone, whether it be Fornals or Ben Rama or Aaron Cresswell? One of these balls that gets swung in and just really gives your attacker a really good chance of getting on the end of it. And Zuma, does enough, gets a flick, thinking, hopefully somebody's there. And Jared Bowen was there. Emerson was really, really good yesterday. A few positives. I'm not, like I said, I didn't come out the stadium thinking, oh, brilliant, that's it, we're going to stay up now. I come out thinking, thank God we've got that win. I was just relieved, really pleased to see Jared Bowen on the score sheet again. And I'm kind of pleased that we've got a couple of weeks till the next Premier League game. We've got 9 days left of the transfer window. Let's get business done. Still strongly linked with Terem Moffi. That rumour's not going away. When we spoke to Darmesh last week, he said, West Ham want Ings and Moffi, and then Antonio might be allowed to leave. So it's going to get a little bit interesting, because you do just wonder, maybe Antonio was trying to put himself in the shop window yesterday. Was that why he was performing a bit better yesterday? I don't think so. I think he was just performing better because he was up against a weaker team. I think we were higher up the pitch in the first half. Like I said, I don't think he was man of match or anything was an improvement. So we'll have to wait and see. But we can get the business done, hopefully, with a little bit of confidence, plenty of time on the training ground. Hopefully we can get a win against Derby. And this is going to sound really mental, but just bear with me. If we can beat Derby, which, we've got to be expected to, they're, decent sized club, but they're in League One, and I know they're performing well, and it's momentum and confidence in that, but we've got to be winning next Monday. And if we do, that'll be, correct me if I'm wrong, that'll be 5 games, 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss in 2023. Because at the minute, I think we've lost 1 and 4 this year, haven't we? And like I said, I know I'm scraping a barrel here, and it's like, well, hang on a minute. The other win was against Brentford Reserves. I know the context. But to go 3 wins, a draw and a loss in 5 if we beat Derby would be good. It just gets a little bit of confidence back into the players and the team. Right, I'm going to take some comments, 5 minutes or so. Let's do some comments. So let's get your thoughts in. It can be about anything to do with Craig Dawson, the transfer window, what you're wanting to see, what you thought of yesterday's game. Get your comments in, not questions, your actual comments. Mark, David Moyes said return and tie. Do you agree? No. I think 1 or 2 players are. I think Bowen has. I think Soufal has. I think they're playing much better since the World Cup. But as a team, not really. In fairness, Moyes couldn't win with me yesterday. I will say this. Moyes couldn't win. We could have played like Barcelona, prime Barcelona yesterday. And there would have been an element of me that said, but it was only Everton. And I don't like doing that. I don't like doing it because I think, well, hang on a minute. You can only beat what's in front of you in that. But I just, like I said, I enjoyed the win. I feel a lot better today. I feel really positive. I've seen the scores yesterday, watched the game today thinking, let's hope Leeds don't win. Let's hope Wolves get beat. Bang, bang, sorted. Thank you very much, Man City. Thank you, Mr. Erling Haaland. Keep Wolves down there. -3 goal difference. Sorted. We like it. But anyway. Will say the French are claiming that Murphy deal is done. It sounds positive. Like I said, it sounds positive, but it's persuading him to come. He's always seemed a little bit reluctant, a bit like En-Nesyri, but I think En-Nesyri's going to Nice where Terem Murphy wanted to go, which is wild, isn't it? So the guy we used to want is going to the club that the guy we do want wanted to go to. So that prevents the guy we want going to the club that he wants to go to. Instead, he's got to come to us, thanks to the player that we used to want. Bit of a weird one. It feels like a riddle, but there you go. That's the situation. Ben says, stay up, win the Conference League. That's my hope. That's a successful season. I'll take it every day. So will I, Ben. The problem is the anxiety you get between now and the end of the season of staying up. But if you offer me today 17th place and winning the Conference League, I'd bite your hand off for it, Ben. I would be delighted with it. It's just going to be a little bit... Eddie says, thank God there's a lot of really poor teams in the Premier League this season. There is. Yeah, I was going to say there's not any poor teams. There's just a load of average ones. There is a lot of poor ones. You're right, Eddie. Doug says, how does Dawson leaving our home group play? I have to confess, I made an error. When at the start of the window, I counted them up and I got 8. And I went, oh, okay. And then Toby in the comments the other day said, oh, they're actually 9. So I went back and had a look and there was 9. So I don't know what I've done wrong. I've miscounted. Doug, don't worry. All is fine. But when we've got a +1 at the minute because Danny Ings has obviously come in as well. So we've lost 1, but we've gained 1. So we're net 0. So we can afford to lose Randall for Coventry and replace them with a foreign player. Or we can afford to lose Michael Antonio and replace him with Terem Murphy. And we've still got space in the squad after that. So we're actually, we're actually in a good place at the minute. Wayne said, I'm glad it was a 2-0 win. I think we'll take much more confidence than that if we script and 1-0. I have to agree. I have to say, the players looked buzzing. The players were buzzing yesterday. The first goal, got the celebration. Declan Rice was screaming. Soufal was geeing up the crowd. And I thought, here we go. Here's a group of lads. It's almost like the pennies dropped a little bit. Now, that's probably a bit harsh on them. They're probably aware of the situation before, but you don't always feel it. Yesterday, I felt it. Aguerd makes a tackle. He jumps up. He celebrates. Bonner's high-fiving him. Was it who took the shot late on for Everton? Was it Awobi? Took the shot, and Declan Rice got a toe to it. It hit the post. Declan Rice turns around. He's screaming like he just scored. And I thought, here we go. Then I saw Tunnel Cam. The club put up Tunnel Cam earlier. And again, you've got Soufal screaming into the camera after. You got Declan Rice happy, a bonus cheering, and you think, here you go. I sensed that they care. I sensed that they cared yesterday. I liked it. Gary wants Spence from Spurs. Would love it. Taz says, I'll take a confidence boost from anywhere at the minute. Colin said the lineup was excellent yesterday. Guy said, his Okaflex come back to replace Cornet? I think he's just come back because of lack of game time at Swansea, in all honesty. We can use him, though, so we'll wait and see. We might get him. Simon says, how many points do you think we're getting from the next 3? I don't know, Simon. Not very many. Manic says, do you see that Dawson's considering retiring to be... No, I didn't see that. That's sad. That is sad. I hope... just to be clear, I'm just guessing here. I've heard nothing. I'm literally just guessing. I can only assume something serious has happened for Dawson to be this determined to go back to his family. And I just hope whatever it is ends up sorting itself out, because, nobody likes to see people struggling. And if he's considering retiring, it's something serious. Whatever it is. And I hope it stays private by it. I don't want to know. I don't want anybody to know if Craig Dawson's going through a terrible time because of XYZ within his family. Keep it private, and I hope it works itself out, kind of thing. But I'm glad he's back there now, and hopefully he can settle down, enjoy his football, focus on his family as well, and good luck to them. Taz said he thinks Moyes here till end of the season. He's gone past caring, but he must go in the summer. Well, I've not gone past caring yet. I agree with that. Michael would like the same lineup for Newcastle, and then Ings for Antonio. Dean says Bowen against Byrne will be fun. Hey, Dan Byrne's playing really well at the minute. Dan Byrne's genuinely been one of the best left backs in the league this season, which is wild. Ben says Zuma, Aguerd and Bowen. If the first 2 stay fit, I've got a great stance of staying up. I think the rest of the squad will share goals and assists between them equally. That's a fair comment. Simon says back 3 looks like a massive improvement. Carl said Benny started. We got the points. He'll be back on the bench for now. Moyes out. Alan says good luck to Dawson. A bloke who speaks through his actions, not his words. I like that phrase. Thank you, Alan. I like that one. He will be missed. Pack of cards will come crumbling down when we lose our next 2, says Anna. Moyes has to go. Everton are poor. It's a cheap win and papers over the cracks. I think I've seen a lot of people say that, though, yesterday. I think a lot of people have said the same thing. Garino says who stays up and goes down will depend a lot on which teams change manager and who comes in. The one thing I will say, though, Garino, most of them have done it already. Villa's changed theirs. Wolves have changed theirs. Southampton's changed theirs. A lot of them have done the pulling the trigger thing. Obviously, Bournemouth, you imagine, would be replacing O'Neill soon. Brendan Rodgers could be getting sacked, could not. But they've stuck with Ben Rodgers through worse this season. Cooper's doing all right at Forest. I think Forest will be fine. Jesse Marsh is under pressure, of course, as is David Moyes and Frank Lampard. So some of the clubs have already pulled the trigger. Paul says, even if Aguerd, Zuma and O'Bonnell are fit and settled, I don't see Moyes liberating our attackers. We have enough up top trouble a few teams if given license. I don't disagree with that one. Jen says Souček hasn't been dropped. He will start against Newcastle. He dropped him last time, brought him on as a sub, and then started the next game. Souček needs to be sold. Yes, but we didn't win that game, did we? He got dropped for the Leeds game, didn't he? And we obviously drew, which not the worst result in the world, not the best result in the world. So I appreciate what you're saying. You're not wrong. He did come straight back in, but I think it's different. We've won this game now. Dean says, surprised we never got Juranovic from Celtic. Yeah, disappointed perhaps. Ian said, doesn't think many fans agree with me about wanting Moyes to go. He's not heard many fans singing for Moyes to go, not at home games. Ian, good. It doesn't mean they don't want them to go. It just means I don't understand. I'll be honest with you, Ian, I don't understand that, because that doesn't mean they don't want him to go. It's like if Souček started, right? The fans aren't going to sing they want Souček dropped, are they? Why would the fans sing they want Moyes sacked? They're there to support the team. If we went 3-0 down, I think you might have heard the songs about David Moyes, but we didn't. We went 1-0 up and 2-0 up, and the fans were there to support the team, not to shout about David Moyes wanting sacked. I disagree with that, Ian. I think the fans actually just supported the team. That's all. again, people will agree with me and people will agree with you on this one. But my opinion is some do. A lot of people go into the game what Moyes sacked. When I was on the boats before the game speaking to people, it was pretty uniform about wanting Moyes gone. But like I said, I don't expect any of them to walk in the ground and start singing "Sack David Moyes." They're there to support the 11 players on the pitch. Like I said, had we gone 3-0 down, I think it would have been a different atmosphere. But we didn't. We were winning. And if we put it this way, if West Ham were 2-0 up and the fans started singing about sacking David Moyes, it's not going to look great, is it? You'd probably be on here, Ian, saying, what's the fans doing? Why are they not supporting the team? Why are they singing? That's my opinion anyway. Christopher, I really like McTominay. Is he the best player in the world? Not really, but I do really like him. Ben said the players definitely care. Manager hasn't lost the dressing room. It was much better yesterday. City and Liverpool didn't beat Everton. That's true. Anthos says family is more important than football. We're glad we let Dawson go. Zanussi says that less than 40 points required this season. I mean, you're not wrong. If you have a look at who was 17th a couple of games ago, multiply it by 2 to get your 8 over your 38 games. You're probably right. You're probably looking at 37 points will keep you up, but risky. You want to be aiming for 40, that's for sure. Peter said we need 3 points in the next 3 games to get into the 20s. Brian says Newcastle, Chelsea and Tottenham don't look as dominating as they did a month ago. Still very tough. Scott says, interesting. Someone to see negatives. Take the win, chaps. I'm trying to be balanced. That's what I'm trying to say. Bates says, yesterday's result was amazing, but I don't think we're out the woods. Seen a lot of people deluding themselves. Matt, why did Ings come here? Villa high flying. Apparently he's on 120 grand a week, so I doubt we've offered more than that. He's our top player now, isn't he? I'm pretty sure Ings is our highest paid player. I imagine he's on the same money as he is now. Was at Villa. Game time, Emery don't need him. Emery can't use him in the system. It doesn't work. When you take Watkins out and put Ings in, it's not working. He has still scored 6. Emery needs his own striker. It ain't Danny Ings. And also security. He only had 18 months to go on his Aston Villa deal. We've given him an extra year on top of that. So it takes him into, he'll be 33 when his West Ham contract expires and he'll be on 120 grand a week for that 2.5 years. It's not bad, is it? It's not that bad. Vonda, can we see anyone else getting dragged in? Do you know something? Palace. I don't know why. When I watch them, I'm just uninspired. I just feel like Palace is going to get sucked into there. But since I said that, they've been doing all right. But I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. When I watch Palace, I'm just not feeling it. I don't think they've got that knit and grit that you need. Vieira kept playing schlupp as well, but he's finally ditched him and put Will Hughes in there, which was annoying. Bill says 62,500 fans turned out to watch 2 struggling teams on a cold day. What does that say for the support? Eddie says, agree 100%. First time in a while, the boys seem to be playing for each other. Much more fun to work. Jens just said, it doesn't matter that we won. Souček didn't start. Moyes will start him against Newcastle. I'm convinced. I dislike Moyes for things like that. You're not alone. Don't worry. Stevie saying, yeah, Moyes out. I think that's regarding the song, but I could be incorrect. Epic says, Moyes still needs to go. Bloomer says, Moyes out. Connor says, Dawson should put a letter out on his new Twitter account. Oh well. If only I went live 20 minutes later, I would have been able to read it to you. But I'm going to, crikey, 38 minutes. I'm sorry. I try and do these half an hour at the most. Right, I'm going to disappear now. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat. And in the comments below, let me know if West Ham were to stay up if West Ham stayed up, which 3 players are going to have the biggest impact between now and then the season. Forget this season so far. I don't care about this season so far. I do, but not for this question. Between now and then the season, which 3 players will make the biggest impact? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Cheers!